On today's episode of You Asked, is it still worth it to buy an Apple TV 4K in 2026? Is the LG C5 the way to go versus Sony OLED? And in a bright room, you going with the Sony Bravia 9 or letting Samsung's S95F OLED battle that bright light instead? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is You Asked, the show where we answer your tech questions. If you've got something you want to know, send your question to youasked@digitaltrends.com. And don't forget to tune into the show to see if your question has been selected. Luke Hill is up first and says, is it still worth getting the Apple TV 4K in 2026? Currently don't have any sort of streaming stick or box. Luke, I would say yes, it is definitely still worth it. I know we all love to torture ourselves with the thought of a newer version coming out right after we buy the previous model, but we've been hearing reports and rumors about a new Apple TV 4K coming for so long that I refuse to believe anything until I actually see it. So there, now I've almost guaranteed a new one will now come soon. Seriously though, I think the current model will still have plenty of life and quality of life features that you'll enjoy for years to come. Plus, they did update the operating system just last year with the new liquid glass look and feature set, including the ability to save logins with your Apple account. So I don't think Apple is ditching this product or this model or version of it anytime soon. I'd also say the Apple TV 4K is probably best thought of as a vehicle that's gonna get you where you wanna go. It's a nice vehicle, it's snappy and responsive, it looks good and has everything you need, but what matters most is still going to be the content you play on it. So if that's what you're yearning for, an Apple TV 4K, go for it. It's one of the best, especially if you don't want a bunch of ads thrown in your face within the operating system. Phoenix7906 asks, how's the Sony Bravia 8 versus the LG C5? Mostly watching movies and TV shows. Well, as long as you're referring to the Bravia 8 Mark I, to quote the great Dwayne Carter, I'd go with the LG C5 all day and tomorrow. It's the brighter of the two OLED TVs, which matters a lot for movies and TV shows where you may run into some dark scenes. It's also gonna help quite a bit if your room gets any daylight. And since both of these TVs also support Dolby Vision, there's really not much of an advantage for Sony in the movies department, again, with this model of the Bravia 8. Refresh rate and the number of HDMI 2.1 ports may not matter to you as much if you're not gaming, but LG is better in both of those departments as well, with more options. Now, if it's the Bravia 8 Mark II that you're referring to, well, that's a different story. That one would be a significant step up from the C5 in terms of color and processing, but it would also be a big step up in budget. Either way, the LG C5 is one of the best all-around models when it comes to picture quality and pricing, and you really can't go wrong with it. Vasilis has a good one. He says, I'd like your help with a purchase I'm about to make. We recently moved into a new apartment and my living room is larger than the previous one. In the previous place, I had a 55-inch TV and it was fine because the distance between the couch and the TV was less than 3 meters. In the new apartment, the distance is almost 4 meters and the 55-inch TV now feels small. The living room gets quite bright during the daytime. I watch a lot of movies, series, and sports, and I also have a PS5. I'm thinking of going all the way up to 75 inches. I'm deciding between a Sony Bravia 9 or a good high-end OLED. I'd appreciate your help to finally make a decision. So it sounds like this has been weighing on your mind for a while and I'm happy to help. Also, congrats on the big upgrade. I think you've nailed it in terms of size. My own living room couch is about 3 meters away from the TV and 65 inches feels right. But if I were any further like you are, I'd definitely go bigger as well. So to that end, especially considering the brightness you mentioned, I'd go with the Sony Bravia 9. It's such a great TV, so bright and capable while still maintaining excellent contrast. It was literally made to shine in bright rooms where it can overpower that ambient light and punch through it with peak brightness in HDR. And as a sports viewer, certainly you will appreciate its SDR brightness as well. The only OLED TV I think I'd throw into the debate would be the Samsung S95F, and there are pros and cons that you'll have to weigh against each other. The pros, OLED picture quality means deeper blacks, for the most part. We'll come back to that. In terms of connectivity, since you'll have your PS5 plugged in as well, taking up an HDMI 2.1 port to get the fastest refresh rate, and the other HDMI 2.1 port being the eARC potentially being used for a soundbar if you did need to connect something else that could take advantage of HDMI 2.1. Well, you wouldn't be able to on the Sony with just 2 of those available. Samsung, on the other hand, has 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. As for the cons, you won't have Dolby Vision with Samsung, and let's talk about those deeper OLED blacks. Samsung does have its anti-glare screen, which does great against direct reflections, but in a bright room, depending on how the light hits the TV, sometimes those inky OLED blacks appear a little bit lighter, and that look isn't for everyone. The Sony, on the other hand, might show direct reflections if it's really bright light hitting the TV, but I think the Bravia 9 brightness can overpower quite a bit and have the glossy screen that so many desire. It's kind of splitting hairs depending on the exact conditions, but to be safe in this situation in terms of brightness, I'd still probably go with the Bravia 9. Sony's processing and the brightness that can stand up to just about anything, plus being able to have Dolby Vision, is just too good to pass up, especially at 75 inches. Also, looks like it's about $1,000 less than the 77-inch S95F right now, so there is that too. Thanks as always for getting your questions in, guys. They are very much appreciated. Keep them coming. Like this video if you found it helpful. Share the whole You Asked playlist with your friends in need of advice, and we'll see you again soon.